I quickly dismiss the thought and focus. The rest of the questions that I ask you today will be of a personal and psychological nature. I say, giving the canned speech I'm required to say to all inmates. The state does require that you answer all questions fully and honestly as part of the assessment. Do you understand? He is silent in response, and I look up at him, a knee-jerk reaction to an unresponsive patient. He's smirking at me, unblinking. "Little girl," he says, slowly leaning forward to rest his elbows on his knees. "What gives you the right to ask me anything about my history and my mind?" I sit straight in my chair, unnerved by such a question. The state has hired me to administer these examinations. "Do you have a degree?" he cuts in. "Some kind of certificate?" The final word is heavy with derision. I frown at him and reach down to rifle through my bag, producing the certified paperwork from the state which qualifies me for this position. "Here," I say, returning his glare. "If you're so curious." I reach across the table to hand it to him. A second before he grabs my wrist, I realize my mistake. He snatches my hand, fully capturing it in his, pulling me forward against the table. It doesn't quite hurt, but, surprised, I drop the paperwork as I gasp, looking up at him, terrified as he brings my hand close to his face. And then, oh my God! Slowly, indulgently, he runs his nose across the ivory skin of my wrist. "Chamomile, lavender," he murmurs, closing his eyes, indulging in my scent. "So fresh and clean," he says. Then he opens his eyes and stares into my bewildered face, wanting to see my reaction as he says, "You must be a virgin." My lip trembles in shock, in awe. His eyes eat me up, savoring the tremble of my lips, my wide, terrified eyes. A guard flies through the door. "Hands off," he yells, but Ken has already released my wrist, raising his hands over his head, perfectly calm. "Sorry," he says, smirking, his eyes on me. "Won't happen again." I blink at him, sitting back in my chair. I straighten my shoulders, unable to take my eyes off him. "Are you all right, miss?" the guard says, leaning forward to look me over. "I'm fine," I say, rubbing my wrist with my other hand. "I'm not hurt, just shocked." I clear my throat and look back down at my papers. We will proceed." I work to steel myself, determined to regain control, to finish this interview. I give Lippert a steady glare, raising my chin. I'm tougher than he thinks I am. At least I hope I am. I pick up my pen again, grateful that my hands aren't shaking. "Please," I say, focusing again on the paper. "Can you tell me about the crime for which you were imprisoned?" "I see. Your little skirt," he says, grinning at the fact that he's riled me so easily, "is also very precious. You have beautiful legs, and it's the perfect length too." "Please, sir," I repeat, surprised to hear it come out in a shaky little growl. "I demand your respect in this process. Please be aware that what I report today will affect the rest of your time in prison, as well as your chances for early release. So I suggest that you take this process seriously." He enrages me further by laughing at me, actually laughing at me. "Darling," he says, leaning forward, "I couldn't take you seriously if I tried." My mouth falls open and I blink at him, shocked, but it quickly turns to rage. I slam my hand on the table, but he only laughs harder. "Sir," I say, "this is an important process." I hit the table again for emphasis, my hand stinging. He just watches my every movement. "I understand, Doc," he says. "I'm here, aren't I? Go ahead. Assess me." He waves a hand at his body, his powerful muscles, his unyielding gaze. I stare into his eyes and feel overwhelmed, almost hypnotized by his glare. I dart my eyes away, staring down at the floor anywhere but at him. "You looked away first," he murmurs, studying me. "On the battlefield. This means you'd have died by my hand." Weak. Riled, I raise my eyes again to him, determined. "Good," he laughs. "I like my girls with a little fight in them." My face goes pale and red at once, enraged, mortified to have fallen for his trick, but also, god damn it, I feel my nipples go hard under my blazer. His eyes move to my chest, as if he knows it, the hum in his chest deepening. I grab my pen again, scrawling words across the paper as fast as I can. Constantly defiant, ruthlessly sociopathic, no remorse. Recommend continued imprisonment, without parole. This is finished, I say, decided, gathering my papers as fast as I can and shoving them, crinkled, into my bag. I can hear him laughing softly at me as I hurry. I take a breath, straighten my shoulders, and then give him what I hope is a withering glare as I move towards the door. I pound twice on the metal, and the guard lets me out. I don't look at Lippert again as I start to leave. "Oh, doctor." I hear his voice echo behind me. My cheeks burn with embarrassment as I turn to hear his parting words. "I'll see you on the outside," he says, giving me a dark smirk. "You can count on it." "Not if I have anything to say about it," I murmur, my voice trembling as the guard opens the door and I storm out. My paperwork recommends his eternal imprisonment. As far as I'm concerned, I'll never see him again, and good riddance. "I'm just saying," Janine says, shrugging as she slides an omelet out onto a plate. It's a red flag when a guy doesn't want to meet her friends and family. I mean, who even is this Daniel guy, anyway? I stop dead on the stairs hearing these words, just 3 steps away from the kitchen. I stay still, hoping to hear what Janine and Dad really think. "I'm just saying," Dad says, shrugging in his chair at the table. "I think you should trust Faye a little more. She's a clever girl." He turns and looks directly at me. "Aren't you, kid?" I scowl, embarrassed to be caught eavesdropping. I take the final steps down into the kitchen and give Dad a kiss on the cheek, sitting down in the chair next to him. I'm smart, but I'm not a kid anymore. Time to update the nickname. "Never," he says, smiling at me. "You're my kiddo forever." Janine brings me a plate of eggs, patting me on the head. Even though we're not related by blood, she treats me just as any condescending big sister would. I came to live with David and Janine when David married my mom. Even after Mom died in her car accident only 2 years after the wedding, David never gave me any reason to think of him as anything besides my dad. I love him just as much as any blood relation. I have no memories of my biological dad and no idea where he is. "So, what is it about this guy?" Janine says, settling in her chair across from me. She's always excited to talk about boys. "There must be something about him, especially because you've never called anyone your boyfriend before."
Full story is available at novelpalace.com. Click the link in the comment section to get it free.